Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to New York Comic Con, day number one. One of the great things about these Comic Cons is that we get to celebrate all of the awesome things that we have known, loved, and been passionate about throughout the years. And one of those happens to be a show that I remember watching all the time when I was younger. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the 25th anniversary of Captain Planet.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we have some amazing guests. Ed Asner, the voice of Congus Greedley. We've got David Coburn, Captain Planet himself.
My captain.
Yes.
Anyone a Wheeler fan?
Yeah.
Because we got Joey Diaz as well. And we also have the creators and executive producers, Barbara Pyle and Nick Boxer, joining us today.
Woo.
And the face.
It is. It is. I did not know that. A fun fact. Tell it. Is this true, or are you just?
This is true.
This is true.
Barbara, tell him. Oh, Barbara.
Okay, here, so what do? I talk into this?
Yeah, right into
Okay,
that.
well, what we did was
Your legs will do the talking.
we made a lot of designs for Captain Planet, and because Ted Turner was our boss at the time, we let him pick. And the artists at the animation house actually drew a picture of Nick. So Captain Planet is Nick's face.
I do see the resemblance. It's
See?
uncanny.
Yeah.
The curl, see the curl, see the dimple, see the jaw.
Did you have the mullet?
No, that was a
That was,
shadow,
that was an
actually.
accident.
Oh,
That was sort of like when they take my pictures.
Is that why they
cast
always
a
thought
shadow
of
to Casper.
Captain Planet as a sicko?
Because of Nick?
So, celebrating 25 years of something that was in our childhoods, that we, that even today people are still watching, people really respond to. It's got to be pretty amazing to come to a convention like this, and Captain Planet is kind of one of the most recognizable brands out there when it comes to folks in this fandom. What was it like for you all working on something that's had a cultural impact like Captain Planet? I'm going to start with you.
Oh, well, I got to play a villain, which I rarely got to up until that point. And the snort all over everybody was a great delight for me, and I just couldn't stop doing it.
You really enjoyed it, I could tell.
I never got asked out to parties after that.
Well, sometimes when you are the bad guy, that can happen. And David, the voice of Captain Planet, right? Leading the Planeteers
Somebody's
for
got
years.
to do it.
Yeah.
We had no idea at the time what we were sitting on, really. I remember.
You're called your duff.
Yeah, well, but I got off my duff that afternoon to go down to an audition, which for me was just like any other audition at the time. I had no idea what the project was, what the theme of the writing was, and I was lucky enough to get the gig. I did replace Tom Cruise.
Is this really?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, but Tom Cruise recorded a couple of episodes at the beginning, and
Wow.
apparently wasn't good enough.
Well, I mean, obviously,
Really? I had no
the voice
idea.
and the looks department, you got him.
Thank
you got
you.
him on both.
That's
You
really
got him on
nice
both,
of you to
David.
say.
He was
It's totally
He
unnecessary.
was too tall, right?
Yeah, that's it. And I was lucky enough to get a job that actually did some good for the world.
Yeah.
And as an actor, that's really rare. Looking back on it now, the impact that it has was unimaginable. There's literally 15, 20 million people worldwide that recognize the brand. It was translated into over 45 different languages. It was syndicated in over 68 different countries. And it's had a lasting impact that's much bigger than the life of the project as we knew it back in the day.
Yeah. Do you agree, Joe?
Yes, and that's exactly what I agree. Exactly what David is saying. It was an honor, a privilege to be involved with working with great people like Ed, Barbara, Nick, and being a part of a show that really mattered and made a difference. And it's really great to have that and to have been a part of that. I really love it.
Now, I'm sorry, I know you've got a bunch of questions, but since we're moving on to Barbara and Nick, did you think that you had a hit on your hands? And would you, was this something that you thought, there's something to this, or what was your reception to its success?
We knew, wait a second. We knew exactly what we were doing, and Nick and I have been working together for decades, and we're both very, very knowledgeable about environmental issues, and we're both very good producers. And when you put those two things together, our mission was to create an environmental literate generation of young people. So when it got really bad on the planet, there would be a small army of Planeteers to fix it. So guess what?
I'm a
The
Planeteer.
time is now, sports fans. Planeteers, the power is yours. All you.
You know,
all you.
I said this earlier today, but I kind of feel the need to repeat it. In 2006, I started working pro bono for Al Gore, Vice President Al Gore. I was doing environmental education along the eastern seaboard, and I realized in preparing my program that children are the only population on the planet not motivated by profit. Ideology is enough to convince a child to change their behavior and perhaps have an influence on changing the behavior of their parents. And children are tomorrow's consumers, and if we can create generations of responsible consumers, we could actually maybe do something to preserve our future. So-
I was actually. Oh, please go ahead. I'd love
I
to
was
hear.
saying the reality is I think children are really receptive and they're intuitive and they understand. They care about animals, they care about plants, they're much more in touch with the natural world. And so I think we felt that they were an audience that would really embrace this, and they have. And it's sort of ironic. You said, did we know he had a hit? And I think we knew he would touch a few lives, but it's really heartening. Now you walk out and you meet all these young people and you sort of, Captain Planet comes up and they're like, oh my God, I played that in the schoolyard. And you say, oh my God, I feel so old.
Marcus and I are people who work in entertainment and in fandom and in this geek world. And I have to say a huge thank you to all of you, because Captain Planet was absolutely instrumental in raising my awareness of the environment, and it has impacted so many decisions I've made in my life and activism that I've taken. And I'm curious your advice, because in entertainment or in any project that we take on, a lot of times we have a cause in mind and we say, I want to do this thing for good. And we kind of get poo-pooed, like, oh, no, that won't make money, or, oh, it won't be successful. You know, what advice do you have for people who want to do good through their work like you did?
Well, first off, I mean, for me, I just don't work on anything I don't believe in. And it's worked. I mean, I've managed to get by. So I mean, maybe there are some compromises, but then you don't make as much, you consume a little less. So that's a good thing too.
Absolutely.
Also, Captain Planet came out in the beginning of the 90s,
Right.
long before
90s.
Facebook, and Twitter, and Instagram, and Snapchat. We have the ability to spread information, especially important information, a lot faster now than we did back then. So it's really up to the people who are fans of the show. A lot of those kids now are parents of kids who watch the show. And it's up to you to spread the word and to educate and activate yourselves and the people around you to make a measurable difference.
With 25 years gone by, again, a very recognizable brand, certainly the question has to come up, why don't you get the gang back together? Or why don't you revive? Right, there it is. It's like, dude, it's going to come out. Any of those thoughts ever happen? Ed, do you want to get back
Well,
into the role?
I'm no longer the shapely, hoggish, greedly that you were used to, the svelte, hirsute, masculine type.
Of course.
So it would be difficult to see me playing that same role again and being believable, because people would want the masculine, attractive me that I once was.
I still find you very
I know,
attractive.
I don't know what he's talking
I do.
Really?
You know, Ed is the only celebrity in the cast that came to all of our group recording sessions.
Wow.
He insisted on recording with the rest of the cast as often as was humanly possible, and most often he showed up with a towel around his neck covered in sweat because he had just gotten out of the gym. So there you go.
Dedicated man right there.
Yeah.
Dedicated man.
I was looking for some sex.
Oh, I'm sorry, can't help you there.
What was it like? I mean, you gave us a little window into kind of behind the scenes, but as you mentioned, a lot of us were kids when we were watching this show. So give us a little peek behind the curtain. What were some of the cool things that went on behind the scenes as friends or in the production of the show?
We were working with Whoopi when Whoopi won her Oscar for Ghost. And Entertainment Tonight came and did a segment.
She won an Oscar or an Emmy?
She won an
Oscar.
Oscar for
For Ghost?
I got to touch it.
And yeah, they brought Entertainment Tonight brought the Oscar to the set because it was engraved, and they presented it to Whoopi on our set.
That's
We all
awesome.
got to hold the Oscar. Whoopi let us all hold the Oscar, and many. We worked with Elizabeth Taylor. We worked with Ed Asner.
Tim Curry, Meg Ryan, Dean Stockwell, James Coburn,
An incredible
Jeff
cast
Goldblum.
of people that really believed in making a difference as well too, not just the talented people they were, and the legendary actors and actresses we worked with. They really had a cause and really wanted to be a part of the show too, and that made us feel good as kids and being around them and being a part of that as well
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
well-
you were just a little punk then.
I was, Ed. Still am, Ed.
Did you guys have any favorite episodes that any of us might recognize?
Go ahead. Go.
My favorite episode is the episode we actually did with Elizabeth Taylor. It's called The Twist of Fate, and it was the first cartoon to tackle the issue of HIV/AIDS. And Elizabeth Taylor played the mother. Neil Patrick Harris was the boy. Danica McKellar was his sister, and we had the opportunity to go all over and really get word out there about HIV and AIDS,
Yeah,
which was a
it's
big
amazing.
thing, big thing ahead of its time back then to do something and tackle such an issue that these guys brought to a cartoon and for families to see. And, you know, we had that experience of working with Elizabeth and doing that and going to the Children's Hospital and presenting it to a ward of 100 kids that
That's incredible.
had HIV. And it was a very memorable experience of life that always stayed in my heart.
That's awesome.
Amen.
Anyone else with a favorite episode before we wrap?
I always go back. There was one called 12 Angry Animals. And basically, the Planeteers are trekking in the Himalayas, and they fall into an ice cave, and they're put on trial for the crimes of humanity against animals over time.
Yep.
And there are 6 animals that are extinct who give testimony, and there are 6 animals who are being threatened with extinction who
Right.
make up the jury. And basically, in the end, they find humanity guilty, and their sentence is life with the knowledge of what they've done. So the Planeteers' responsibility after is to go out into the world and educate people so that we stop, the extinction, the mass extinction that's going on our planet.
I can do the closing line, and the sentence is life with the knowledge of what you have done.
It really is amazing that there was, this type of
life
of
was-
issues and whatnot were actually tackled and approached. I mean, like nowadays, it's not something that you typically see in kids programming at all. So as we have to wrap up, I would just like to. Oh, Anna says she's got one more question.
Well,
We can't-
it can be right when you're done with this, Marcus, but I was hoping that we might get The Power Is Yours.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great close. I wanted to personally just thank everyone up here as a Captain Planet fan and for what you have done.
Thank you. Thank
Not
you.
only then, but still now as it continues to send the message. And yes, thank you. I think it's amazing. So, Anna, sorry, you had a question you wanted to ask?
I was just wondering if we could get a quick message to our audience in character here.
Yeah. Can I have that microphone?
You want this?
Why don't we get a snort from Ed, too?
Ed, can you It's a real honor to be here. I just want to say the pleasure is mine, but the power is yours.
Woo!